Commissioner Panucci, are you on?
I am here.
All righty. So what you might want to do, we'll be starting in just a minute. I know Wellborn is here, but not in the room. You might want to bring up House Bill 490 on your computer, and the fiscal note will be referencing those from time to time.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. Okay, we'll get started. Good morning. This meeting is called to order. For the record, the time is 11:01 a.m. The day is April 30th, 2025. The commission and staff are appearing from Helena, Montana in the Bollinger Room of the Montana Public Service Commission. I'm Brad Molnar. I'm the presiding chairman for this meeting. Please join me in reciting the Pledge of Allegiance. For the record, the following commissioners are present. Commissioner Panucci is online. Commissioner Wellborn is present physically. I'm present physically. Commissioner Bukacek is here physically, and Commissioner Fielder is excused. So the quorum is satisfied with 4 out of 5 being here. The Public Service Commission welcomes any comment on any item that is on today's agenda or on any matter that is within the jurisdiction of the Public Service Commission. Are there any public commenters in the room? Seeing none. Are there any public commenters online? Seeing none. So do we have any announcements? Seeing none. Or change of the agenda, which is a short agenda. Seeing none. There are no approval of minutes, so that is not applicable today. So we're going to begin the work session. Do we have a legislative update?
Yes, Mr. President, we do. Good morning, Mr. President. Good morning, commissioners. Today I'll be providing a quick legislative agenda update, very short now as both houses are looking to close shop here very soon. As a review, Senate Bill 222351, those were PSC requested bills. Those all three have been signed by the governor. House Bill 45, also requested by the PSC, has been signed by the Speaker and is heading to the President for signature. Previous action, House Bill 911, revising the meaning of the term public utility, that was officially tabled in the Senate Energy Committee last week. House Bill 490 to revise civil liability laws. That went through second reading, 100 to 0 vote, third reading, 99 to 0 vote, passed out of the House and Senate and returned from enrolling, and it is currently sent to the Speaker for signature. The final bill on the list, House Bill 2, just moments ago, it passed third reading in the House, 66 to 34. So that has passed both houses. And that is all I have for the update, pending any questions.
Are there any questions of Alana? Sure.
Thank you. Would you, thanks, Mr. President. Alana, what was that last one that you said that just passed this 6634?
Yes, House Bill 2, our budget
Oh.
bill, yes, just passed third reading in the House with amendments 66 to 34.
Okay, are there any further questions? Seeing none. I have a motion to bring forward, and that's pretty much why we convened today, I believe, is that House Bill 490, the commission has had umbrage with that throughout. It has passed very heavily. However, I still have some concerns. So I make a motion, and then of course we can discuss it, that I, as president, be allowed to continue working on a letter with Lucas and Will, that I will go to the governor and ask for his consideration for an amendment, which basically takes the Public Service Commission out. Do I hear a motion?
I'll second.
Okay, then I'll first it. So, is there any discussion?
Would that require a veto?
It might require a mandatory veto to take us out, or he can change the language, or ignore the request, one of the three. Are there any?
Understanding
Oh,
is you're concerned is that the PSC is not fully equipped to fully evaluate a wildfire mitigation plan. And according to this fiscal analysis, HB 490 allows the PSC to appoint a technical master to determine whether wildfire mitigation plan contains the required components. And Section 5 of the bill says the Department of Montana Disaster and Emergency Services shall review the wildfire mitigation plan submitted to the commission within the public comment period, provided comments and recommendations regarding aspects of the plan within each of their jurisdictions.
right.
And you had wanted, I listened to your testimony, and you wanted a consortium. This bill does not rule out additional people or additional agencies added to that consortium. So it seems like, taking all that into consideration, we have a lot of people involved. So I'm not sure. That seemed to be the thrust of your testimony, was that we're not equipped.
Well, not only the thrust of my testimony, but the thrust of my concern. A input from a disaster response, input from the Department of State Lands would be more than welcome. However, it's advisory, and this goes beyond that. This is that we have a finding that it's in the state's best interest and is balanced, as the exact language required for us to do pre-approval. Once we've said it is, we pre-approve their expenditures without any hearing, without any evidentiary evidence, without the Montana Consumer Council and others saying, hey, about this $8 million here, maybe there's a better way. I would refer my fellow commissioners to the current rate case on Northwestern. They put forward a budget and analysis of requirements for fire insurance. And the MCC and others said there's a better way to do it. And they said, okay, this bill does not allow us to have that hearing. Yet we're doing a pre-approval. I don't think anybody here would agree that to do a pre-approval on, say, Yellowstone Generation Plant without evidence, without the Montana Consumer Council, would be appropriate. This is no different. So, do you have any further?
I think everybody agrees we need wildfire mitigation. I think most people, if they study what strict liability means, I don't think most people would agree that entities or individuals should have to pay for damages to someone that that individual or entity did not cause. So I just wanted to go through a little bit of history of this bill very briefly. House Bill 490 had bipartisan co-sponsors and received bipartisan votes from 139 of 150 legislators. From the time it was heard by the House Judiciary to the time it was heard by the Senate Judiciary and then passed out of Senate Judiciary amended, that was many weeks that passed. And we had plenty of time. We had many weeks, and you were quite involved making recommendations from the PSC. I also wanted to back up just a little bit. You said the PSC has had umbrage with this bill, and if you recall, two out of 5 commissioners voted to continue to monitor and not oppose. And when you testified, it could have been misconstrued that we were all in agreement with you being there opposing it. The bill was amended substantially before it got out of House Judiciary. Notably, the sponsor of the bill is also the chair of the House Judiciary Committee, where her bill was amended heavily. It was amended again in Senate Judiciary, and it passed out of Senate Judiciary 6-2 amended. I listened to the entire hearing on this bill before the Senate Judiciary Committee, March 26, 25, including your testimony, Mr. President, and the legislators chose not to incorporate all of our recommendations. They incorporated some and not all. So, and then passed the House on third reading as amended, 97-1, passed the Senate 40-8, passed the House as amended by the Senate 99-0 on the 17th of April. During the hearing before the Senate and before the House, there were testimonies from attorney ranchers who suffered tragedies from wildfires. And I empathize with all people that suffer tragedies, of course, we all do. But this desire to be made whole, which is the phrase that they use, after a tragedy does not justify getting financial remuneration from entities not responsible for the tragedy. I consider the passage of House Bill 490 to be one of the most important bills passed this session in support of the PSC's strivings to ensure access to keep the lights on and heat on at the best possible price. The bill strikes a balance requiring certain entities to develop mitigation plans to prevent wildfires and get those plans approved. This bill does not give blanket immunity. Rather, it holds the utility company liable if the utility company is responsible for damage, but not if it is not found negligent. So the final version of this bill, it was well thought out, substantially amended, worked on for weeks. You had ample time to work with them. There were 139 yeas and 8 nays, so heavy bipartisan support. To make suggestions to send this letter, if this had been sent a month ago, I think that would have been perfectly appropriate, sending it to the legislators with detail written by, written well by staff with details. That would have been appropriate. Even sending it to the governor then, if you wanted him to be thinking about it, that would be perfectly appropriate. But with this kind of bipartisan support, to ask the governor to veto House Bill 490, to me, it would be disrespectful and dismissive of the legislators who worked very thoughtfully on this bill.
Anything else?
I have the amendments here if you want to look at them.
I'm pretty familiar with them. Did you have any comment? Okay.
The only other thing I want to say is there are industry standards for grid hardening, and our staff here are familiar with those industry standards. And if there are other industry standards, we could become familiar with them. And I believe that we are the most appropriate to take that on, working with a consortium of others.
Anything else? Commissioner Panochi, did you have any comment?
I do. Can you hear me okay, Mr. President?
You are more than loud and clear, sir.
All right. So I brought Amy Regira in immediately when this bill started, brought her to the Public Service Commission, and she showed up right away. Is Lucas Hamilton there and present?
Yes, he is.
All right. So Lucas, I believe, had a chance to speak to the representative. Lucas, can I ask you a question?
Mr. President and Commissioner Pinochi, I'd of course, be happy to answer any questions that I can. However, I should clarify here that I have not spoken with the bill sponsor about this particular legislation.
Right. When she came in to have a meeting with me, I believe somebody spoke with her after I did or during the time I did. Were you present at any time during that meeting?
Mr. President and Commissioner Pinochi, I was not.
Okay, I'm sorry about that. It's been quite a while. So I visited with Regier on trying to increase the amount of grid hardening by requiring the use of carbon fiber type power lines, high performance conductors, which have proven to start no fire anywhere in the world with over 250,000 miles installed. She took it under some advisement, but didn't really do anything with it. And in your opinion, Mr. Hamilton, do you feel that this is something that public service commissions should support? This bill?
Mr. President and Commissioner Pinochi, I don't know that it's my place as staff to opine on whether or not the commission should support the bill. I currently have no recommendation on that. I'd want to, of course, speak with my regulatory counterparts and work as a staff team, as we usually do, to prepare that sort of recommendation before I opine on what the commission ought to do here. Certainly, I respect the commission's prior determinations during the legislative session about what it would like to do with this bill, and we as staff, legal and regulatory staff, will do everything within our power to execute the commission's directive in that regard.
I'm very curious where staff is on today's hearing. So you've answered that question. Thank you. And Mr. President, I called a hearing specifically dealing with lowering fire risk, and I've been doing this across the country. And this hearing, I think, was really looked at very closely and is something that needs to be implemented to reduce fire risk, which is a tremendous problem across the country. We've got the worst fire disaster in the history of the United States, and the utilities are up to their eyeballs and problems. And it looks like insurance companies may back away from insuring utilities altogether. So I don't think that they worked with the commission as closely as they could have. I've certainly extended that invitation in the very beginning, and I didn't get much. I didn't get anything accomplished with the legislature. But to tell you that I've tried to is an understatement. Okay. So, Mr. President, that's what I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Seeing none?
Just one brief comment. And that is just, staff has a lot of other pressing things to do. And I don't know how time consuming it would be to write up this letter. They always do.
I believe they're about done.
Okay, good.
Okay, first of all, your concern about how much the bill passed by and the governor vetoing it. Last session, the governor attempted to veto a bill that passed 150 to 0. That's his job, is to give second review. There were bills that passed 100% Republican, he vetoed. It's his job to review. I'm not going to debate with you. Frankly, your knowledge on this subject is not to the degree that it have to be a debate. The things you said are absolutely, what you said was immaterial. It is not about if we have a marshal to look at what they want to do about fires. They want us to pre-approve their expenditures. That's what we do. They want us to pre-approve without an evidentiary hearing. They want us to pre-approve without sworn testimony. That's my point. That's not what we do. That's not even what the law says. This is an exemption to existing processes. The benefit of quite possibly one entity in the state. It's my job and your job to make sure the process is upheld and that the findings are actual and factual and presented as a matter of fact, not public testimony that's unsworn. For example, 2021, and this goes to your, oh yeah, but look who voted for it. Senate Bill 265 had 1 Republican vote no in the Senate and 2 vote no in the House. When that went to court, it caught the Attorney General walked in and said, I have no defense. This is a violation of the contracts clause. And the judge said, you're right, you don't have a defense. That cost almost $900,000. If we were to take similar action, we would be in similar position. So with that, the facts are very clear. And this kind of goes to what you were talking about having a robust hearing. The hearing on the Senate side was 2 minutes for proponents, 2 minutes for opponents. Each senator got 1 question. I asked the person that chaired that multiple times to meet with me, never got a response. 2 minutes proponents, 2 minutes opponents on what you correctly stated was quite possibly the most important bill to go before judiciary. Do I think it was well vetted? I do not. Was the position of the PSC discussed? It was not. So the facts of the matter are that, and I'll read these are my 4 points. The purpose of this meeting is to get permission to seek an audience with the governor. Then Forte to consider an amendatory veto on 490 to pull the Montana Public Service Commission out of the bills as we are inappropriately in the decision-making seat. Thus ratepayers are dragged into the fray and they don't belong in the fray. They don't. Certainly, Department of State Lands, Emergency Response can give the exact same testimony to Northwestern. They don't need us to go through it. We are the hearing marshal here. We don't need to hire one. If I was going to talk about is fire mitigation, talk about it all you want to. I'm talking about we are pre-approving millions of dollars without any evidentiary hearing. So section 2, sub 2E makes the Public Service Commission approve strategies and methods for energizing and de-energizing transmission lines. This has been at the forefront of wildfire litigation, and the PSC does not have a seat at the table. That's not what we do. That decision is made at the time by the utility. They're not going to review what we thought about what might happen. That's not what we do. We don't tell them to do anything or not do anything. We review what they've done. 3, under section 2, sub 4. We take public comment, but there is no sworn testimony, and the MCC can only provide comments on the plan. But it isn't clear whether MCC and other parties can call witnesses or ask for discovery because the bill requires only a public meeting rather than an evidentiary hearing. How then do we stand up and say the record is clear? There is no record. Section 2.6, if we find without discovery or sworn testimony that a utility's plan contains the required elements, is in the public interest, and balances the incremental costs with the risk of wildfires, then it appears to be a pre-approval of those incremental costs, because that's the exact language that we have to find, even though the review process is not a rate-making case. That's the problem. And there's no way around it. Please.
And you were able to express those concerns during the legislative session. You had opportunity to put it in writing at that time, correct?
2 minutes proponent, 2 minutes opponent, can I meet with you later? Is not. It would have taken me longer than that to read this.
I said written. You misrepresented what I said earlier. You're misrepresenting me now. I asked you if you had opportunity to write something to the legislators and to the governor. Did you have that opportunity?
Everybody in the state of Montana has that opportunity. Did you write one?
I'm not the one asking for a veto.
Did you write a memorandum of understanding or concern to the legislature?
Relevance, sir?
Did you?
Relevance to this
The
hearing?
relevance is you seem to think that I was going to do that. You're a commissioner. I'm a commissioner. Did you do that?
You're the one bringing it up.
Did you do that?
Irrelevant.
You did not. You didn't even testify.
Irrelevant.
It's a fact that I find relevant.
I
So,
didn't vote to oppose it.
pardon?
I was one of the two that voted to monitor and not oppose. Just a little chronological history there.
Interesting beyond belief. So, with that in mind, I think it is wildly important that the governor consider there are contracts we're not aware of. There's wording in here that's ambiguous. I haven't even brought those up. Lucas and I are like, well, I don't know. But ask the governor with his legislative staff and with his attorneys to sit down and check these out and have his attorneys sit down with our attorneys, see what they think is absolutely appropriate. It's done every day. Every day with cause. He had 22 vetoes last time. Many passed by greater than this. Far less implications to the power of the PSC. What we're seeing here is the regulated asking the legislature to tell the regulator that they have 60 days to make a finding without evidence. Wildly inappropriate. I think that it is it was far too common in this last legislative session to try and get around regulation. I asked their attorney in the hall, why did you not come to the PSC and say, we have a bill, we'd like to have your input? Why, during 18 months of ETIC, did you never say, here is a bill we'd like to have considered? It was just sprung on people. That was second look is appropriate. If the governor wants to sign it, he signs it. If he doesn't, I had my say. And as president, I think I need to say, we need an evidentiary record, and this doesn't allow it. I don't think that's inappropriate.
No one here is questioning the power or the veto power of the governor. That's not the issue. It's looking at the amount of time that was put into this, looking at the opportunity that you had and we had at the PSC to give our thoughts on it. And then it's voted 139-8. I think it's disrespectful and dismissive of the legislators and their proper place and our proper place as having been created by the legislative branch. So it's,
Thank you. Is there anything else? I call for a vote.
President Molnar, would you be willing to state your motion, please?
My motion is to allow me to ask the governor for an audience to discuss this and to present him with a letter drafted by our legal staff with concerns that we have. I will be asking the governor for an mandatory veto to take us out. We cannot do what we're supposed to do with a 60-day window and no evidence. All in favor, say aye. Aye.
Aye.
All opposed?
nay.
Randy, are you on?
That was an aye vote from me. I
Okay.
apologize why that didn't go through. Do you hear me okay?
Yeah, you are now. You were silent there for a moment.
All right, thank you.
So with 3 yes, 1 no, and 1 excused, the motion passes. Thank you.